Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport have loaned me this 2020 model of the Land Rover Defender. This is the 110 SE model. It features the ever powerful 6-cylinder engine under the hood, and we'll take a close look at that and talk about the numbers, and I'll show you all that stuff in just a little bit. And I'll also list the numbers on the screen, or the trim levels and their base prices on the screen for you. And in a little bit I'll show you all the interior functions and just give you a quick tour of everything. But as you can see, I have it raised up as high as it will go right now, and you have the option to raise and or lower the suspension from either the driver's compartment or the rear, and I'll show you how to do all that in just a minute. But just want to give you a quick look. I'll list the exterior and interior colors on the screen for you, but tell me what you think about this newly redesigned Land Rover Defender. I've done a few videos on these before but haven't done one outside, so I thought we'd go ahead and do that today just so that we could have a little bit better place to do it. The local Land Rover dealership here in Shreveport, Louisiana is currently being remodeled, so there's a lot going on out there. But whenever that's all finished up, the good thing about that, find the hood latch, is that then we can go back on their little track. They're basically their rock climbing track or crawling track or whatever you call that. But they've got the track out there at the dealership that I did show in a previous video, and a little bit harder to get to right now. But anyway, that way we could demonstrate the climbing ability and actually the very strong capabilities off-road of this Defender. And a lot of that is due to what's right here. The 3-liter 6-cylinder, it puts out 395 horsepower and 406 foot-pounds of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And when we go out and do our test drive in just a little while, you're gonna find out that this thing will get down the road. Of course, you've got the signature LED daytime running lights. I don't have anything on right now because you probably wouldn't be able to see it very well with this light out here anyway. The daytime running lights, of course, you've got fog lights. A lot of light here available on this model. Of course, you've got all the safety features, the sensors, the blind spot monitoring, all that good stuff, everything you would expect. And right up here, and we'll look at that from the inside as well, you can see the safari windows. And you may not go on safari out in the jungle or wherever, you just go off-roading or whatever you may be doing. But the cool thing about that is whoever's sitting in the back can have a view of whatever's around that's really high up, whether it's trees or buildings or whatever the case may be. And of course, you do have a full-size spare tire mounted here on the rear door. And of course, this is not a power lift gate or anything like that. There's a lot of stuff in here, I know. But the good news is that I can show you right here what you can do with this vehicle. So I am going to let the air, or actually that's raising it right there. It actually went up just a little bit. I'm going to lower the vehicle right here, pushing this button. The button on the right will lower it, and the button on the left will raise it back up. And so now you should be able to tell a difference in the ride height of the vehicle. And of course, depending on what you're doing and where you are, or if you just want to ride around sitting up a little bit higher, that's how you do that. And like I said, I'll show you how to do that on the interior as well. And right here is something that is very interesting. You might wonder, what exactly is this? Well, it's not a tool kit. It's not really a tool at all. It's actually an emergency triangle. And I've actually seen some videos where people say it's a toolkit. They don't even pull it out. So I'm going to pull it out real quick and just set this up for you real fast. Very easy to set up, not a big deal. And so basically, of course, you'd put that behind the vehicle, maybe whatever. If you're off-road and you want people to see it after dark, it's going to reflect. Just something very simple and very nice to have in the event that you ever need it. Now that you know what's there, let me put this back in. And it's a little bit tricky to get back in, honestly. Let's get this done. Actually, it's probably not that tricky to do this. It's probably just because I just don't do this every day, and so I don't have the experience at it that some people do. But I just wanted to give you a first-person view of how all of this works and what all is right here. That's what's in that little compartment. Of course, you've got the Defender logo right there. But let's take a look at the interior, starting with the back seat. Of course, here are the doors, nice large door bins. You have map pockets, let's get that correct, map pockets on the back of the seats. And everything here, of course, air conditioner. You've got controls for the heated seats and for the air conditioner. And I don't have that on right now because it doesn't really do much right here for whatever reason. That's just the way that is. Not a big deal, just something to know about. 12 volt right there, and you've got 2 more USB ports and another 12 volt. So you've got 2 12 volt power outlets and 2 USB ports right there. And here on the top of the seats, if you want to lower these seats, let's see if I can do that, get that to come down. Come on, there we go. You can move the seats forward if you want to. And of course, let's move that back. These seats are adjustable. There's actually, I don't know if I'll be able to get you a good shot of it on my head mount here, but you can adjust where the seat is. And of course, you can lower that down to maximize cargo space on both sides. Of course, you've got tie downs back here if you want to tie down some cargo, if you're maximizing your cargo space. And of course, there's a good little look at the panoramic sunroof. Very, very nice. Let's see, I don't know if I can get up here and give you a good view of that from the top or not. Hopefully that's a good view. And one thing I want to show you real quick while we're here, right up here, what looks like a shark fin, or the antenna basically for satellite. Here's what that actually has inside of it. And if you didn't know, that is actually the clear sight rear view mirror camera. And we'll take a look at that in just a minute. Of course, you do have the exposed screws right here, just to really give it more of a rugged feel. But don't let that fool you. That doesn't mean that these materials aren't high-end. This vehicle is just made for going off-road. It's made for being used as a Defender. And a lot of people I know will say, oh, it's not like the Defenders of old. And I'm no expert on that subject, so I'm not necessarily going to be able to tell you for sure if it is or not. But I can tell you there's a lot of great capabilities here. Another USB port right there. And if you're riding in the front and you need to hold on to something, well, there's something to hold on to right there. As you can see, there's storage right here. And we'll look at a little bit more when we hop into the driver's side here in just a second, as far as what all you have there. Okay guys, let's take a look at everything from the driver's point of view here in the Defender. And I hope that I've given you a good view, trying to get everything set where the sun's not an issue. And as you can see, you've got quite a few nice features here that you can work with. You can go through, of course, a lot of information here on the dashboard, depending on what you want to change or what you want to look at as the driver. Of course, you have voice commands. You can answer and hang up on phone calls, cruise control, all the typical bells and whistles that you would expect. And the steering wheel itself is nice and comfortable. And that's one thing about this vehicle, is that everything is high-end, but yet very durable. It's not necessarily super plush or anything like that, but that does not mean it is cheap by any means. And so here's one thing I want to just touch on real quick. There's your button right there for starting the engine and turning it back off. And this shifter right here, a little bit of a unique shifter. I really like that, actually, personally. But you can turn your auto start stop feature on and off. You've got hill descent, all that kind of good stuff right here. And these two right here, if I wanted to lower the vehicle back down, I know you can't tell that it's lowering right now, but that's how you raise and or lower the suspension. And you can turn your traction control on and off if you want to do so. And here's some nice features. Of course, you have AC, auto, all that kind of stuff. If you want to change the fan speed, this is dual zone climate control. If you want to change the fan speed, you just push that little button right there. It will light up, and as you can see, you can go to 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want to. I don't want to go too high with that because I don't want to ruin the sound in the video. And so there are a lot of interesting little bells and whistles here, depending on what you want to do and what your situation is. There's the volume for the radio if you want to use that. USB ports here. You've got another 12-volt power outlet. And here's the storage I was talking about earlier. And you might wonder, what is this right here? Well, I guess you can call it a multitasker. You can use it as a tray for whatever, or you can remove that cover and there's your cup holders. So if you want to leave that right there, that is not a problem. Wireless charging right here. And here is your console. But here's the cool thing about that. If you push this button right here, see those little blue indicators right there, the blue lights that come on? That's on high for this little refrigerated console. That actually gets very cold in there after it's on long enough. And I guess there's two settings for it. You've got high and then you've got low, or you've just got off. And enough room to put some small bottles of water, maybe some snacks in there and all that kind of stuff. Okay guys, when it comes to the infotainment screen, let me show you a quick little easy hack here for just figuring out what's going on and knowing how to change all the settings. Right down here in the bottom left-hand corner, if you click on those squares right there, it's going to show you everything you have available. Account, seats, climate control, cameras, all that good stuff. Of course, you can click on that. Let's click on that one more time, see if we can get what we want. There we go. And you have on-road, which we're looking at right now, and I'm still sitting in the grass out here, or you have off-road as well. And it gives you a couple of different points of view so you'll know what's going on around the vehicle. That makes it much easier. You can click right there and it's going to give you yet another view. So it makes off-roading a lot easier. You do have valet mode, all that good stuff, everything you would expect here. But this is where you're going to go to basically manage your Land Rover Defender. I've heard people say that this is a complicated system. I don't think it is. As long as you know to push right there and just go to whatever it is you want to. Not overly complicated, actually. There's not a whole lot here to have to work your way through, even though there's a lot of nice features. So why don't we strap on our seat belt here and I will get out on the road and we'll take a little test drive with the Defender. One more thing before we do our test drive, guys. Let's just take a quick look at the rear view mirror. Now, if somebody was sitting in the back seat, it would be kind of hard in that middle seat. It would be kind of hard to see. That's why the clear sight rear view mirror is available. Basically, it's using that camera that I showed you earlier to show you what's going on with the vehicle. And you can actually change the angle of the mirror depending on what you want it to look like. You can do you can change the brightness. You can also change the angle, as you see me doing right there. So what I've done is basically raised it up. You really want it to be kind of a little bit lower like that, but all of that's available and very simple to use. Okay guys, we're going to take a quick test drive here. And one thing that I will say about this model of the Defender, there are a couple of different engine options available. This is the most powerful version you can get here with the 395 horsepower 3-liter 6-cylinder. It's going to get down the road really well, but I'll tell you a little secret about that. And that's if you want to get the most out of it when it comes to performance under strong acceleration, don't just floor it. If you just kind of ease into the gas pedal a little bit, and you'll figure out what I mean by that if you drive one of these vehicles, you'll find out that it actually responds better that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to get out here on the road and let this car pass. I'm just going to ease into it a little bit. I'm not even on the floor yet. I'm about 3/4 of the way, and you can hear the engine is working really hard. Very, very impressive acceleration. And of course, that's not really the main purpose of the horsepower and the torque in this particular model of vehicle, but it's nice to know that it's there. It's not just going to do a good job for you if you take it off-road, but it's also going to do a great job for you if you need to accelerate when you're driving down the road. And I'm kind of curious to know, guys, a lot of people will talk about how the owners and drivers of these Land Rover Defenders, they'll probably never take it off-road. Tell me if you either have one and you take it off-road or you plan to. You know, this modern day model. I know if you have an older one, you probably do. But just tell me, I'm kind of curious to know what you do with your Defender on a daily basis. But what about ride quality? That's very, very impressive, actually. It's actually quite smooth. You would probably expect it to be a bit rugged and somewhat of a rigid driving experience, but it's really not bad at all. I'm actually very impressed with the ride quality. Now, not a high performance vehicle, obviously. This is not something we're going to go throwing into the turns at a high rate of speed, as we often do here on Vehicle Visionary. It just depends on what we have. But I'll tell you what, just for what this vehicle is meant for, it does a fantastic job. Now, as I take a turn here, the body roll really isn't that severe compared to what I would expect. You're going to get some body roll in the turns just because of the high center of gravity, but ultimately the suspension on this vehicle is tuned to the point to where it handles really well. And of course, that's really what it's made for, just to handle properly. And even though it's meant to be a great off-road vehicle, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize with these Land Rover models of vehicles, is that whether you're driving off-road in the most extreme conditions that this vehicle can handle, or if you're just cruising around town or you're out on the open road as we are right now, the way the vehicle is tuned as far as the handling characteristics go, it's going to give you the best driving experience possible. And one of the things about that is that it's going to transfer power to the correct wheels. If you have, say, the right front and the left rear off the ground, you're in maybe a rock climbing situation or something like that, those wheels are going to stop receiving power. The system's going to sense that those wheels are off the ground, and it's going to send power to the remaining two wheels in the front and the back that need the power to keep you moving. But like I said, that's not only beneficial when you're rock climbing or whatever you're doing some kind of extreme off-roading. It's beneficial when you're just driving down the road. It's going to keep you safe as you're going through the corners. And the vehicles are designed to just do what they're supposed to do in all driving situations. And I really just enjoy the overall driving experience. Even though this is a large vehicle, it sits up pretty high. It doesn't necessarily have the feel of something that's uneven, unsteady, that's not planted on the road like it should be. Sometimes you'll get a lot of sway in the body and all that kind of stuff, a lot of body roll. You don't really get that here. And so I must say, that's very impressive, but it's typical of Land Rover. So a very good job, I must say. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. I appreciate my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport and all of you for taking the time to watch. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Tell me what you'd like to see me feature here on Vehicle Visionary, and I will do my best to make it happen for you. See you next time.